The invasion and the desperate plan. The claws of the Thave aliens shredded buildings and flesh into ribbons of gore as the sadistic invaders ravaged yet another defenseless colony. But this time would be the last, for when the humans joined the war, it was over in hours. Young Balan pilot Javine lay exhausted in his bunk, his eye stalks blocking out the grim reality of endless Thave invasions. The ruthless enemy destroyed Balan's spawning pools, massacred larvae, and outmatched Balan's ships at every turn. Javine's own vessel had just retreated from the planet JX, leaving its people to die in despair. He muttered to his wingmate Cordell, "The humans had it right centuries ago. Those violent crazies. Why mention them now?" Cordell scoffed. "I've studied their history. They were betrayed by the galactic races, but maybe their uncompromising ways are just what we need." As colonies burned and Balans perished, Javan realized there was only one hope left, and it meant awakening humanity's long-dormant rage. Uncovering human history. Javin sat hunched over the glowing screen, his eye stalks twitching as he scanned through the ancient historical records. The dim light of the computer terminal cast an eerie glow on his tired face. He had been at this for hours, digging through the archives, searching for any scrap of information about the humans and their fateful encounter with the galactic community centuries ago. "You're wasting your time," Cordell said from his bunk, his voice dripping with disdain. "The humans are long gone. They're not going to save us from the Thay." Javine ignored him, his attention focused solely on the records before him. He had found something, a series of entries detailing the humans' first contact with the wider galaxy. The records showed that the humans were initially thrilled to be recognized as advanced enough to join galactic society. They had eagerly sent delegates to the various alien races, hoping to forge new alliances and trade agreements. But their excitement quickly turned to outrage as they endured a series of brazen betrayals and attacks from various alien races. The Dollans, a species known for their greed and cunning, had stolen millions of tons of resources from Earth without payment. The humans had trusted them, believing that they were trading partners, but the Dollans had simply taken what they wanted and disappeared. The Sleen Empire, a powerful and aggressive species, had enslaved 100,000 human immigrants who had come to their world seeking a new life. The humans had been promised prosperity and opportunity, but instead found themselves in chains, forced to work in the Sleen's brutal mines and factories. And then there was the Jandis Collective, a mysterious and secretive group of aliens who had used unknowing humans as test subjects for an experimental bioweapon. The humans had thought they were receiving medical treatment, but instead were being used as guinea pigs in a horrific experiment. Javine felt a surge of anger as he read through the records. The humans had been betrayed at every turn, their trust and goodwill repaid with cruelty and exploitation. It was no wonder they had reacted with such fury. The records showed that the humans had completely cut off contact with all alien races after these betrayals. They had retreated to their own territory and began rapidly advancing their own technology in secret. And then 2 years later, they had unleashed devastating surprise attacks on their betrayers. The Sleen Empire's atmospheres had been ignited by an enhanced missile barrage, turning their worlds into infernos. The Jandis Collective had been rotted from within by a horrific bioweapon, their bodies dissolving into putrid sludge. And the Dollans had been hunted down and destroyed, their ill-gotten gains seized and returned to the Earth. The risky journey. Javine leaned back in his chair, his mind racing with the implications of what he had just read. The humans had been uncompromising in their response to injustice. They had not hesitated to use overwhelming force against those who had wronged them. And now they were isolated behind an impenetrable defense grid, their territory protected by a system that instantly obliterated any approaching ship. "Don't you see?" Javin said, turning to face Cordell. "The humans are our only hope. They have the technology and the will to fight the Thay. We have to reach out to them, to ask for their help." Cordell shook his head, his eye stalks drooping in despair. "You're crazy," he said. "The humans will never help us. They'll blast us out of the sky before we even get close to their territory. It's suicide. But Javan was undeterred. He knew that seeking human aid was a grave risk, but it was a risk he was willing to take. The Balans were facing extinction at the hands of the Thief. They needed a miracle, and the humans might just be that miracle. He turned back to the computer terminal, his mind already racing with plans. He would find a way to contact the humans, to plead for their help. He would not let his people be destroyed, not without a fight. And if that meant awakening humanity's long-dormant rage, then so be it. Javin's eye stalks flicked back and forth as he crept through the dimly lit corridors of the Balan ship. His heart pounded in his chest, threatening to burst through his exoskeleton. Every sound made him flinch, fearing that Cordell or another crewmate would discover his unauthorized departure. After an agonizingly tense journey, Javan finally reached the hangar bay. He scurried over to his small stealth ship, running his claws over its smooth surface. This tiny vessel represented both his people's last hope and his own likely demise. With a deep breath, he opened the hatch and climbed inside. The cockpit lit up as Javan initiated the pre-flight sequence. His claws danced over the controls, flipping switches and adjusting dials with a speed born of desperation. The engines hummed to life, their vibrations resonating through the ship's frame. As Javan gripped the controls, a pang of sorrow pierced his heart. Images of his family and friends flashed through his mind. His broodmates, his clutch mother, even Cordell. Would he ever see them again? Tears welled in his eye stalks, blurring his vision, but he blinked them away, his resolve hardening. He had to do this for all of them. With a decisive push of the thrusters, Javan guided the stealth ship out of the hangar bay and into the void of space. The inky blackness enveloped him, the distant stars cold and uncaring. He engaged the ship's cloaking device, vanishing from sight and sensors. Javan input the coordinates for the edge of human territory, his claws trembling slightly. He had memorized the location from the ancient star charts, but he had no idea what actually awaited him there. The humans' defense grid was the stuff of nightmares, an impenetrable wall of destruction that obliterated any intruder. As his ship aligned itself for the jump to FTL, Javan couldn't help but imagine the humans' reaction to his arrival. Would they blast him to atoms before he even had a chance to speak? Would they torture him for information about Balan weaknesses? Or, by some miracle, would they listen to his desperate plea? He shook his head, pushing those thoughts aside. It didn't matter. He had to try. Contacting the humans, with a deep breath, Javan engaged the hyperdrive. The stars elongated into streaks of light, then vanished altogether as the ship leaped into the space between spaces. The journey was long and arduous, lasting many cycles. Javan subsisted on meager rations of nutrient paste, barely enough to keep his body functioning. He spent every waking moment poring over what little data he had on the humans, trying to glean some insight into their culture and psychology. But the records were frustratingly sparse. The humans had been isolated for centuries, and even before that, they had been notoriously secretive. Javan found himself grasping at scraps, a fragment of a transmission here, a blurry image there. It was like trying to assemble a puzzle with half the pieces missing. As the days stretched into weeks, the loneliness and uncertainty began to take their toll. Javan found himself talking to the ship's computer just to hear a voice other than his own. He replayed memories of his broodmates, clinging to them like a lifeline. But through it all, his determination never wavered. He would reach the humans. He would beg for their aid. And if they killed him for his audacity, so be it. At least he would die knowing that he had done everything in his power to save his people. And so, with nothing but hope and desperation to sustain him, Javan hurtled through the void towards an uncertain future, the fate of the Balan race resting on his shoulders. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Javan, an endless void punctuated by distant stars. As his ship approached the outer edge of human territory, a strange sense of calm settled over him. His claws, which had been trembling on the controls for days, now felt steady and sure. It was as if some external force had taken hold of him, guiding him towards his inevitable fate. Suddenly, without warning, the ship shuddered violently. The engines sputtered and died. The control panels went dark, and an eerie silence filled the cockpit. Javan's eye stalks swiveled frantically as he scanned the readouts, trying to make sense of what had happened. His ship had been caught in the human's defense grid. An unseen force had disabled his vessel, leaving him helpless and adrift. Panic surged through Javan's heart. He tried to activate the emergency systems, but nothing responded. The ship was completely dead, trapped in a web of invisible energy. Javan's mind raced, trying to come up with a plan. He had to find a way to communicate with the humans, to convince them that he meant no harm. But how? The ship's communication systems were offline, and he had no other means of reaching out. Then a flicker of hope. The ship's lights blinked back on, and the control panels came to life. A message appeared on the main screen, written in an ancient human script. Javan's eye stalks widened as he read the words, "Identify yourself and state your purpose." The encounter. Javan's claws hovered over the keyboard, his mind racing. He had to choose his words carefully. This was his only chance to make a good impression, to show the humans that he was not a threat. He took a deep breath and began to type, his claws clicking rapidly against the keys. "My name is Javan, a pilot of the Balan race. I come in peace, seeking your aid against the thief invaders. Our people are being slaughtered, and we have no hope of defeating them on our own. Please hear my plea." He hit the send button and waited, his heart pounding in his chest. The seconds stretched into agonizing minutes, each one an eternity. Finally, a response appeared on the screen. "You will be brought aboard for interrogation. Do not resist." Javan's ship was enveloped in a beam of light, and he felt a strange sensation of weightlessness as he was transported onto a human vessel. The air inside was cool and sterile, with a faint hum of machinery in the background. He found himself in a small, windowless room, surrounded by human soldiers. Their faces were hidden behind visors, their expressions unreadable. They leveled their weapons at him, their postures tense and wary. Javan raised his claws in a gesture of surrender. "I mean no harm," he said, his voice trembling. "I come seeking your help." One of the soldiers stepped forward, his visor retracting to reveal a stern, weathered face. "I'm Captain Reynolds," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "You've got a lot of nerve coming here, alien. We've had our share of betrayals, and we're not inclined to trust easily." Javan nodded, his eye stalks swiveling to meet the captain's gaze. "I understand," he said, "but please hear me out. My people are being annihilated by the thief. We have no other option. You are our last hope." Captain Reynolds studied Javan for a long moment, his expression inscrutable. Finally, he nodded. "All right, alien. We'll hear what you have to say, but if this is some kind of trick, you'll regret it." Javan's heart swelled with a mixture of hope and fear. This was it, the moment he had been striving towards. He took a deep breath and began to tell his story, laying bare the plight of the Balan race and their desperate need for help. As he spoke, he could see the humans' expressions softening, their skepticism giving way to something resembling empathy. Maybe, just maybe, they would be willing to help after all. The Alliance. Javan stood before the human council, his eye stalks flicking nervously as he recounted the horrors of the thief invasion. The humans listened intently, their faces grim. He spoke of the slaughtered colonies, the destroyed spawning pools, and the countless lives lost to the thief's brutality. He told them of his own desperation, of his risky journey to seek their aid. When he finished, there was a heavy silence in the room. The human leaders exchanged glances, their expressions hardening with resolve. Finally, one of them spoke, a tall, imposing woman with piercing blue eyes. "We cannot stand idly by while another race faces extinction," she said. "We will help you, Javan. But know this, we will fight on our terms. We will use our technology, our tactics, and our soldiers. and we will not tolerate any betrayal." Javi nodded, his heart pounding with a mixture of relief and fear. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for giving us a chance." The humans wasted no time. They mobilized their forces, deploying their advanced ships and weapons to the Balan front lines. Javan watched in awe as the humans' technology far surpassed anything he had ever seen. Their ships were sleek and powerful, their weapons devastatingly precise. The Theg, who had seemed invincible just days ago, were now being pushed back, their forces decimated by the humans' relentless assault. As the tide of battle turned, Javan found himself fighting alongside the human soldiers. He marveled at their courage and determination, their unyielding resolve in the face of danger. They fought with a ferocity that matched the Theg's own, but with a discipline and strategy that the Theg lacked. And through it all, Javan felt a growing sense of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could win this war. Victory and reflection. The final battle was a brutal, bloody affair. The Theg fought with the desperation of a cornered beast, their savage attacks wreaking havoc on the battlefield. But the humans were relentless, their advanced technology and unwavering resolve driving them forward. Javan fought alongside them, his claws slashing through Theg flesh, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. When the dust finally settled, the Theg lay defeated. Their forces were shattered, their will broken. The Balan race was saved, their colonies spared from annihilation. Javan stood amidst the wreckage, his body battered and bruised, but his spirit soaring. They had done it. They had won. As the Balan and human forces celebrated their hard-earned victory, Javan found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. He thought of his family and friends, of the countless lives that had been saved. He thought of the humans, of their incredible technology, and their fierce determination. And he realized that they had not just saved his people, they had inspired them. The Balans had learned the value of courage and resilience, of standing up against tyranny and fighting for what was right. Javan knew that the road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges and hardships, but he also knew that the Balan race was stronger now, more united and determined than ever before. And as he looked out at the stars, he felt a sense of hope and possibility. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, and with the humans by their side, there was no limit to what they could achieve. And so, with hearts full of hope and eyes fixed on the future, the Balan and human forces stood together, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. They had proven that even in the darkest of times, there was always hope, and that together, they could overcome any obstacle. A new dawn. As the ship sailed through the vastness of space, the bridge hummed with activity. Human and Balan crew members worked side by side, their efforts seamlessly integrated. This was a testament to the cooperation and understanding that had blossomed between their species. Javan stood at the helm, watching as stars streaked past. Captain Reynolds approached, a look of satisfaction on his face. "We're making history, Javan," he said. "This ship, this crew, it's a symbol of what we can achieve together." Javan nodded, his eye stalks swiveling to meet Reynolds' gaze. "It's a symbol of hope," he replied, "and a promise that we will protect each other, no matter the cost." Their journey took them to uncharted regions of space, where they encountered new worlds and civilizations. Each discovery was an opportunity to learn and grow, and the joint Balan-human expeditions were met with curiosity and respect. The news of their alliance spread, and soon, other species sought to join this burgeoning coalition. Back on Balan, the rebuilding efforts continued at a remarkable pace. Cities that had been reduced to rubble were being restored, and the people found new purpose in the alliance. Cordell, now a leading figure in the reconstruction efforts, coordinated with human engineers to implement advanced technologies that improved the quality of life for all Balans. One evening, as the sun set over the newly rebuilt capital city, a grand celebration was held to honor the heroes of the war. Javan and Captain Reynolds were the guests of honor, their bravery and leadership having inspired countless others. Chancellor Tavak addressed the gathered crowd. "Today, we celebrate not just our survival, but our unity," he declared. "We stand here, not as separate species, but as a united front against any threat that may come our way. We owe our lives to the courage and determination of those who fought for our future." Javine and Reynolds stepped forward, receiving the adulation of the crowd. As they looked out over the sea of faces, they felt a profound sense of accomplishment. This was what they had fought for, a future where different species could coexist in peace and harmony. As the celebrations continued, Javin found a moment to speak privately with Cordell. "We've come so far," he said, his voice tinged with emotion. "But there's still so much to do." Cordell nodded, his eye stalks focused on his friend. "Yes, but we're not alone anymore. We have allies, friends, and a shared vision. Together, we can accomplish anything." The following months saw the alliance grow even stronger. Joint scientific endeavors led to breakthroughs in medicine, technology, and space travel. Cultural exchanges enriched both societies, fostering a deeper understanding and appreciation of each other's traditions and values. Javine, as the ambassador, traveled frequently between Earth and Balan, strengthening diplomatic ties and ensuring that the bond between their species remained strong. His experiences had transformed him from a simple pilot into a key figure in interstellar relations. One day, during a routine mission to a distant planet, Javine and Reynolds received an urgent transmission. A new threat had emerged, one that endangered not just their two species, but the entire galaxy. Without hesitation, they mobilized their forces, ready to face this new challenge head-on. As they prepared for battle, Javin looked around at his crew, a mix of humans and Balans working together with unwavering determination. He felt a surge of pride and hope. They had faced the darkness before and emerged victorious. Together, they would do so again. With a final nod to Captain Reynolds, Javin gave the order to engage. The ship surged forward, a beacon of hope and unity in the vast expanse of space. The future was uncertain, but with their bond unbreakable, they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. And so, the story of the Balan and human alliance continued, a testament to the power of unity and the enduring spirit of hope. In the endless cosmos, they had found each other, and together, they would build a future filled with endless possibilities.